2 hours later.
I just got done watching the Many Saints of Newark, and it was honestly pretty bad. Being a huge Sopranos fan, I was really excited to get a new piece of media in this universe. But after watching the film, it was a complete waste of time and added almost nothing to the overall Sopranos story. Even looking at it as its own story, it still really isn't that interesting. The biggest problem with the movie is the character and events they chose to focus on. The first hour of the movie barely focuses on anyone that has anything to do with the show. Instead, it's focused on this black character named Harold. We almost spent 40 minutes of the first hour almost solely with this character, only briefly cutting back to our main crew. Harold is never mentioned, seen, or have any impact on the overall Sopranos show, and the heavy focus on his characters takes away the time we could be spending on characters we actually care about. Harold's story and motivation also make zero sense. The connection between the uprisings and him starting his own mafia and his hatred for Dickie Moltisanti are severely underwritten and kind of come out of nowhere. His character is also not given a satisfying conclusion, as there's no wrap up to his story. Besides Harold, we're also given a huge focus on Dickie Moltisanti being the main character of the movie. And although Dickie Moltisanti is very important for the overall Sopranos universe, the aspects of his life they choose to focus on are completely meaningless. Instead of focusing on the relationship between Tony and Dickie, we're more focused on the relationship between Dickie and his dad, Dickie and his dad's fiance, and Dickie and his uncle. All characters who have nothing to do with the main show. Any member of the main show that we actually do see is nothing more than a glorified cameo. They're not given any meaningful things that actually forward the plot in this movie or develop their characters in any way. James Gandolfini's son is pretty good as a young Tony Soprano, but he's barely in the movie, maybe having a total of 15 minutes of screen time. We were given an even younger version of Tony Soprano, played by an even younger actor. Not focusing on the older Tony Soprano the entire time really takes away from his character, and we don't really learn much when he's a kid. I'm completely taken out of the movie every time we see young Paulie, Sil, or Pussy, as the actors playing them are trying too hard to impersonate them that they come off very unnatural and stand out. Vera Farmiga's actually a really good actress, and I like her in almost everything she's in, but in this movie she comes off very fake and inauthentic by overacting and using a really annoying fake accent. Some of the positive aspects of this movie have to be Ray Liotta's performance, and even though I'm not a fan of the two characters he played, he did a really good job in this movie. I actually really liked Uncle June in this movie, not only because he had actual plot relevance, but the actor that played him was really good. He honestly sounds and looks exactly like Junior Soprano, and unlike Sil and Paulie, he comes off very natural. Another positive is the revelation of who killed Dickie Moltisanti. I did not expect that, and I thought it was a good addition to the Sopranos lore. I also really liked the voiceover from Michael Imperioli as Christopher. When I first heard this was going to be a Sopranos prequel, I figured we'd see a younger version of our original crew as they grow into who they're supposed to be, but that's not at all what we get. We get some weird side story of Dickie Moltisanti as he has an affair with his dad's wife and his beef with some unimportant side character. If you're a fan of The Sopranos besides one or two references to the main show, this movie has absolutely nothing to do with it and you'll get zero enjoyment out of it.
Look how they massacred my boy.